All right, let's stay on the political front now. And if you thought one of the two candidates for president was going to run away with the election, you were kidding yourself. No matter what we told you, and yes, we told you there was a big spread about a few weeks ago. Well, that spread has been, well, basically, we're in the percentage of, error here, where basically it's a toss-up right now. This thing, and take a look at some of these numbers, is going to go down neck and neck. Many people believe that I respect all the way through November here, unless some huge national or international event will swing it one way or the other. And while the Romney VP sweepstakes is certainly something to get into here, let's get into the numbers, Andrew, in terms of trying to figure out why, at least surprising to me, because Obama's had a pretty good last 3 or 4 months, and the primary's been so brutal, this thing's still so tight.
Well, all of this takes new perspective now that the primaries seem to be over, Rich, and about a half-dozen presidential polls have come out in recent days. They are all over the place, some with Romney ahead, some with Obama ahead. The one getting the most attention is this one from the New York Times and CBS News. It has the two in a flat-footed tie at 46% each. Still, as we check the averages of polls from Real Clear Politics, the president continues to hold a rather slim lead, as you can see right there. There are some constants in all these polls. We mentioned the large Romney gaps among women and Latino voters. Romney has big leads among men, whites, top income groups, and less educated voters. And then there's general popularity. In polling terms, that's called favorability. And in the latest ABC News Washington Post poll, Romney trails Obama by 21 points. With a 35% rating, he's below where Al Gore, Bob Dole, and Walter Mondale were, not to mention the totals of the men who beat each of those candidates. In fact, Romney's favorable numbers are the lowest for any major party nominee since 1976. And only Bill Clinton has had numbers that low at any point as a candidate, though it was much earlier in the cycle and managed to go on to win. So the big questions are simple. Can an unpopular candidate win the White House? And can Mitt Romney reverse that trend and make himself more popular in a hurry? Rich?
We'll answer your own question, Andrew.
I don't think he can. I don't think this is a very complicated analysis. I don't think it's one of those things where it's this aspect. People just don't like the guy. He comes off as a little bit, I don't know, slick.
It's funny. I heard an answer today from Romney that I thought was the smartest answer he gave to the issue of why he still hadn't been paying his taxes. And he said in due time he's going to release paying his taxes, releasing his returns. That would be a different story. But he said, hey, I'm successful. By now, I'm successful. It's not a secret, and I make no apologies for it. He'll never be lovable. But if he said, listen, if you want a guy who's going to create jobs, in a funny way, give kind of a Bloomberg air. Bloomberg's never been warm and fuzzy, as Dominic will tell you from covering him. But nobody ever debated the guy was competent, and nobody ever debated the guy knew numbers and could run a business. If Romney kind of portrays that and says, you don't have to love me, but nobody's going to run a company or a country better than me, is that his best shot?
Yeah, I think that has to be his only shot, because he's not getting any more warm or lovable or fuzzy. So he has to just say, listen, I'm a nuts and bolts guy. I can get our economy going. And he has said that. The problem is, though, is the favorability. And I do believe that not everybody is in the weeds in terms of the politics like we are at this table and some other people are. So they are going to judge at the polls who they feel is more favorable, who they feel they can relate better to. And I think that's how George Bush 43 did it, and I think that's how Obama is going to do it in the next election.
Dom, help me out here. If people don't seem to like the guy, Republicans, conservatives never wrap their arms around him.
Doesn't matter anymore.
Why is this thing neck and neck?
You don't want the real answer.
Why do you think I asked you a question?
But this president, if you want the real answer, this president faces obstacles that no other president before him. We all like to skate around the issue, but he's the first African-American president. And Obama, contrary to what's been said, Obama can lose this election all by himself. All Romney has to do is to continue to run his race. And whether we like him or not is completely irrelevant. Here's how Obama, this is the point I was making earlier about voter apathy. Look at North Carolina alone. There were record turnout numbers for Obama, and he still barely won by that much. So if Obama does not turn out his base, and I mean turn them out from the MTV generation on, he could lose this election all by himself.
Well, we're going to get into apathy here and what will get people to the polls in the coming days. All right, guys, thank you. We're going to jump to a quick break. When we come back, Stand Your Ground is losing ground. Major force behind spreading that controversial law in Florida, which was thrown into the spotlight, of course, with the shooting of Trayvon Martin. Well, one of the big backers behind has decided to stop pushing for passage of that same law in other states. We'll explain a group known as ALEC here that many of you have never heard of, but trust me, is driving agendas all across this country. Stay with us. We'll be right back.